Hello and welcome to the Pregame Network News Hole, a series where we recap a few things we heard throughout the week. Not necessarily everything and all the big news you'd expect, but a few things we heard and thought were interesting. This episode is for the week of January 19th, 2025. Let's get started. Ted Price, the founder and CEO of Insomniac Games, announced his retirement on Wednesday, January 22nd, after leading the studio for over 3 decades. In his wake, Insomniac Games will adopt a tri-leadership model with 3 co-studio heads of various tenure at the company taking the reins. Chad Desrin with 27 years, Ryan Schneider with 24 years, and Jen Huang with 9 years. There is no word yet on what roles, if any, the remaining co-founders, Alex and Brian Hastings, will have. Price's exit raises concerns among many that it might be the first domino to fall in a potential shakeup of company quality and culture. His departure could impact the creative direction and identity he has long fostered, and there's apprehension over whether the new leadership can maintain the studio's reputation for innovative, high-quality games amidst the challenge of modern creative and corporate influences. This concern is heightened by the polarizing reception to some of the more controversial additions and design choices in their Marvel projects, as well as their questionable approach to AAA budgets and spending during development. In the meantime, fans are left to reflect on the many games Price had a direct hand in, such as the original trilogies for both Spyro the Dragon and Ratchet & Clank, classics that are remembered fondly to this day. It was a week of misfortune for EA as they released their investors report for its 3rd fiscal quarter ending December 31st, 2024. The report highlighted significant underperformance from its releases, with 2 key misses in EA Sports FC 25 and the controversial Dragon Age: The Veilguard. The failings of FC, the rebranded FIFA series, marked a surprising downturn for both revenue and reputation, falling short of sales goals and further monetization engagement as the game faced poor reviews during the holiday season, a peak time for the sports genre and industry in general, leading to the first notable decline in one of the most consistent live service platforms, Ultimate Team, a digital player card system that EA has been steadily growing in its EA Sports lineup since 2009. Meanwhile, Bioware developed Dragon Age: The Veilguard faced a reckoning as it missed its sales goals by a massive 50%, with a release that followed months of hostile communications, an activism-driven writing staff, and a general disregard of feedback from longtime fans with concerns, something employees with the company seem keen to double down on. The report coincides with their steepest stock decline in nearly 6 years, and in response, leaders within the company have pledged to further updates and quality assurance in the future. Although a select few gullible people actually expect change from core EA policies after just one setback. Meanwhile, for Bioware, the outlook is grim. The failure has already led to restructuring, resulting in the dismissal of the director and writing team for Veilguard. If these failures continue, it's likely the developer will face closure, echoing the fate of several studios acquired by EA in the past. And now, some smaller stories from throughout the week. On Wednesday, January 22nd, Nintendo was highlighted by the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation for its remake of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door and its portrayal of the character Vivian, receiving a nomination for an award in character representation. GLAAD's nomination appears to reflect a pattern where the organization and ones like it highlight or celebrate changes in character portrayal that some might argue are more about following current trends than about narrative development. As while many of the mainstream industry outlets are excitedly claiming that Vivian, and his single-line addition in allegedly identifying transgender, corrects the game's original narrative, a closer look at the various versions of the script available reveals that Vivian's portrayal has varied significantly between regions and release. In the original Japanese, he was known as an otokonoko, a type of feminine man, while in the original English, he was depicted as a real woman. Both interpretations would later be continued with information available in the sequel, Super Paper Mario. The revision, and the attempts of the industry to celebrate it, are just more in a trend of altering character identities in sequels, reboots, and remakes, as source material is continually attacked and forced to push fleeting contemporary values by developers and localizers. In the meantime, Vivian, and his erroneously translated story, will likely win the award it was nominated for, as representation of this kind is most valued by activists when it is stolen from somebody else. Just a week after Rockstar parent company Take-Two shut down a prominent modification for Grand Theft Auto V, another team of creators calling themselves Revolution Team found their entire YouTube channel deleted after releasing a trailer for their project, GTA Vice City Next-Gen Edition, essentially a remake of Grand Theft Auto Vice City created by porting all of its assets and content into Grand Theft Auto 4's engine. The team expressed their frustration at what they called a cruel move from Take-Two, a company who has a history of taking action against modders and their projects, to such a degree that the team arguably should have considered this a possibility. For the moment, the Revolution team still plans to release the mod, as Take-Two and Rockstar have only gone after their YouTube channel, although the mod itself will likely face similar takedowns shortly after or just before it releases, especially now as the team has removed the requirement of owning an official copy of Grand Theft Auto 4. As this is the second week in a row for something like this to be highlighted, and as this will continue for as long as large corporations abuse copyright protections, your friends here at the Pre-Game Network would like to give everyone a little tip. If you have a fan project or game modification for an intellectual property tied to any of the companies in the industry that are notorious for shutting down such things, you should probably stick to a quiet development and a shadow drop release. And that does it for another week of the Pre-Game Network News Hole. If you encounter anything you think we'd find interesting throughout the following weeks, send it our way. Thank you for listening. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.